Good afternoon. My name is Chris Grisham, and I'm a reference librarian in the Central Library Business and Economics Department of the Los Angeles Public Library. Today's program is titled How to Launch Your E-Commerce and Start an Online Business. Thank you for attending our program this afternoon. The Business and Economics Department provides programming throughout the year, including 2 more programs featuring speakers from SCORE in the month of August. And you can find our programs listed on the library's online calendar. In addition, the Business and Economics Department maintains its own Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts, so you can follow us on those platforms as well. I invite you to send us your questions during the course of the program, and we will have a Q&A session afterwards as time permits. With that said, allow me to introduce you to our guest speaker. Farid Parvini, has a Ph.D. in computer science, together with 2 Master of Science degrees. He teaches graduate courses on the subject of algorithm, database management and security, and search engine theory at the University of Southern California, known to many of us as USC, and the California State University at Long Beach, CSULB, since 2009. In addition to his teaching duties, Dr. Parvini has been involved in all aspects of digital marketing since 2003, and his companies have successfully designed, developed, and promoted hundreds of e-commerce websites since then. Thank you for being here with us today, Dr. Parvini.
Thank you. Okay, thanks for joining us today. As you mentioned, the title of this webinar is How to Launch Your E-Commerce and Start Your Online Business. So the target audience that I hope can benefit from this webinar are people who are affected by pandemic. Your business is down, you lost your job and looking for new opportunities. So you see that it's a good time to start an online business. Or you have a business and you want to expand and create a new e-commerce, and maybe you have already some experience selling online. The learning objectives for this webinar is cover everything that you need to know to have a solid foundation for your e-commerce business. Learn about different types of business models, know e-commerce platforms, the websites that you can create e-commerce, and know how to market your e-commerce. So these are the main objectives of the webinar. The topics that I'm going to cover is what's e-commerce, choose the business model, how you can choose a business model, understanding e-commerce websites, what it is, advantages and disadvantage of e-commerce if you don't have it and then you consider opening an e-commerce, what you should consider, main features of an e-commerce, some FAQ, some quiz, the platforms that you can use plus Amazon, how you can compare these platforms, and when you start your online business, how you can market that one. And if you decide to hire someone, whom you should hire, and if you have time, some case studies. As Chris mentioned, my name is Farid Parvini. I started studying mathematics, got my bachelor, then my bachelor in mechanical engineering, my master in bioinformatics. And since I was doing software engineering for 15 years, I finally decided that I had to go back to school and study computer science more systematically. So I went and got my master's degree in computer science and my Ph.D. And I have been teaching at USC, Cal State Long Beach, and other institutes since 2009. So what is an e-commerce? E-commerce or electric commerce is the buying and selling of goods or services on internet. Encompasses a wide variety of data, system tools for both online buyers and sellers. And when you have an e-commerce, you're dealing with some platforms. You are going to review those platforms. So this is the roadmap that I'm going to follow. The first thing that you have to do is, what do you want to sell? This is something that I cannot help, and probably nobody can. What do you want to sell? Do you have a product? Do you have a service? The thing that you want to sell or make it available online is up to you. So that first block is something that you have to figure out. The next one, whom do you want to sell, is again something that you have to specify. I can help you. Based on those, you have to go to type of e-commerce, business model, platform. So we follow this path, and then at the end of this webinar, hopefully you have a good understanding of that. So the first thing that we are going to check is type of e-commerce business models. There are 6 types of business models that we have. B2C, business to consumer. This is the transaction made between a business and a consumer. This is one of the most widely used sales models in the e-commerce context. So when you buy shoes from an online shoe retailer, this is a business to consumer transaction. So B2C. B2B, business to business. Unlike B2C, B2B e-commerce relates to sales made between different businesses. So manufacturer and wholesaler, or manufacturer and another manufacturer. So those are B2B. In this case, there is no consumer, and then no transaction involved as far as consumer. The third type is C2C, consumer to consumer. One of the earliest form of e-commerce is C2C e-commerce. If you remember eBay, that was consumer to consumer. You have something to sell and you can sell it on eBay, or someone can buy it. So that is consumer to consumer. The fourth one is consumer to business. Let's say you are a photographer and you create good pictures. So there are some services like iStock photo deposit, and those services, they are willing to purchase your pictures and sell it to others. So in that case, you as a consumer is dealing with the business. So that's consumer to business. And finally, business to administration and consumer to administration. These are very specific cases that are very rare. So as I said, the first thing that you have to decide is what kind of business model you want to adopt. You want to sell it to businesses, you want to sell it to individuals, consumers. So this is the part that you have to specify. So what you need to do first, choose a very specific product to sell, as I mentioned. This is something that you have to decide. Second, choose whom you will to be selling to, your target audience or your buyers. And based on that, you can choose an e-commerce model. Okay, so that's the first part. Now, how you choose a business model? Let's look at the characteristics of your business model. Your business model apparently should be profitable. You are not making a donation store or non-profit organization. You want some profit. So your business model should be profitable. It should be defensible. You want a business that is kind of unique. If it's something that everybody can do it, there is no profit there. So your business should be defensible. You prefer to start a business that your neighbor cannot copy immediately. And finally, it's measurable. Why measurable? Because you put some time, you invest some money. At the end of the day, you want to see the profit and then return on investment. So it should be measurable. Besides that, your business should be easy to get started, easy to make transition between models, because there are different business models that I'm going to cover. But maybe you can start with one business model and then you make a transition to another one. So it should be easy. So let's look at the business models that you can adopt. The first one is drop shipping. Second one, reselling, white labeling, manufacturing, and making it yourself. So these are the 5 business models. Please don't confuse these business models with B2C, B2B. They are called business models, but they are one category. And then this business model is the second step. So let's look at all these business models. Drop shipping. So the first step to evaluate the different business model is the criteria that I said: profitable, measurable, defensible. So let's look at the drop shipping. What is drop shipping? The first model is drop shipping. In drop shipping, everything is invisible to the consumer. So a lot of people are not even familiar with this model. So it's invisible to consumer. There are four major benefits. First of all, what do you do with dropshipping? The dropshipper or the person who is dropshipping is the person who doesn't actually hold any inventory. They have an online store and they accept orders that they don't do any fulfillment. They just get the order, pass it to the manufacturer or another business, and then they process that one. So what are the benefits of dropshipping? The first is low barrier to entry, no starting capital. You can start a dropshipping with literally $25, very cheap. No minimum order. There is no minimum order. You can start your e-commerce business as a dropshipper, and you may not get any order for the next 2 months. Nothing is going to happen. No minimum order. No physical location. You don't have to have a physical location. So this is the first advantage of dropshipping. Second one, as I mentioned, no fulfillment, no shipping, no inventory to count. And this is a huge advantage. The third advantage is you can run your business from anywhere in the world. So you can run it from the beach. So it's location independent. And finally, it's very scalable. If you get twice as many orders as normal, you don't usually have to hire extra workers. At some point, you may need one, but it's very scalable. So these are the advantages of dropshipping. You start an online business as a dropshipper, you get orders and pass it to someone else. But what are the disadvantages? If that was so easy and profitable, why everybody is not doing that? So these are the drawbacks of dropshipping. So low barrier to entry. That's an advantage, but at the same time disadvantage because everybody can do it. Very low margin. This is not your product, so you don't have any control of that. So the margin is very low. What happens if your neighbor is doing exactly the same drop shipping with exactly the same manufacturer and lower his margin? Then you're dead. So low margin. Complex shipping. You get different orders for different manufacturers. So sometimes it becomes very complex. And lack of control. You don't have any control over that. As I said, this is not your product. This is not your shipping, so you don't have any control. So these are the advantages and disadvantages of drop shipping. The next one is reselling. A reseller buys products from wholesaler, distributor, or manufacturer, and then sell through his own store or channel. So functionally speaking, you have to have your own website where you accept orders and fulfill them yourself. Okay, so reselling is very similar to dropshipping, but you purchase and then you do some fulfillment. What are the advantages of reselling? If you are an expert in a niche, then you already know which products are in demand. So you can buy them and then resell them. No need to spend money on R&D. Someone else is doing, you just take advantage of that. And you have lots of control over shipping costs because in this case, you are shipping that. The fulfillment is on your side, so you can benefit. So reselling is the second business model. The third one is white labeling or private labeling. When you go to a grocery store and you see the name of the store on that can of food, that's called white labeling or private labeling. It's where someone else is making a product or sometimes a service, and you put your name and label on that one. So private labeling is very similar to reselling, so most of the benefits and drawbacks are the same. The benefit of doing the private labeling is you can do your own marketing. In reselling, you cannot do it because that's not your product. You don't want to spend money and market someone else's product, but in private labeling, you can do it. You can do your own marketing and build a fan base of loyal customers because, again, that's your product. They know your product. Even Someone else is producing that, but you can create a good base of loyal customers. Another benefit of private labeling is people cannot compare prices. Believe it or not, I have seen a lot of people go to, for example, Best Buy, take a look at a TV, and immediately check online. They use Best Buy as a showroom. Go there, see the TV, and immediately check online and see if they can buy somewhere else cheaper. In private labeling, they cannot do it because that's your product. Again, this is a big advantage of private labeling. The fourth business model is manufacturing. I don't spend that much on that one because it requires a lot of experience, and then it's very expensive. It's the most challenging business model because you have to make something. But at the same time, it's one of the most defensible models. When you build something, people cannot copy you easily. So in manufacturing, you have control over everything. You have control over copyright, trademarks, and patents, which is, again, big advantage. What are the disadvantages of manufacturing? Of course, you need to spend on prototyping, make the product, market your brand, and it requires a huge amount of time and money. And finally, the handcrafting. Handcrafting is when you can create a product on small scale. It's not manufacturing. It's a small scale. If you have a skill to build something and then sell it, it's called handcrafting. The advantage is it's very easy to start, small customer base, direct connection to your clients. What are the disadvantages? Time intensive, price to time ratio is a consideration all the time, and sometimes it's hard to sell. Before we go to the platforms and see which business model lead you to different platforms, look at the history of e-commerce. The first major e-commerce, CompuServe, was founded in 1969, so more than 50 years ago. So as you can see, became a long way. 1995, Amazon and eBay launched. 1999, Alibaba, and Apple Pay, 2014. Cyber Monday exceeded 6.5 billion in 2017. So why you want to have an e-commerce? Why you even consider an e-commerce? What are the advantages of e-commerce? So the first thing is faster buying for customers. It's very easy. Companies can easily reach new customers. You don't have to be local. You can start a business here and have clients in New York City. So you can expand your business. There is no geolocation. Lower operational costs. You don't have to pay for rent. You don't have to pay for employees, insurance. And finally, personalized experience. You can update your website, different landing pages. So these are some of the advantages of e-commerce that why people even consider that. But what are the disadvantages? It's not just talking about the good things. What are the disadvantages? Limited interaction with customers. Like physical store, you cannot greet them, you cannot, handshake them. It's the limited interaction with customers. Technology breakdown can impact the ability to sell. So if your website gets compromised, there is nothing that you can do. You have to wait until your IT fixes that one. So technology breakdown impact your sale. No ability to test or trial. People return it back because the size is not good. So these are some of the disadvantages of that one. So now that you know the target, the business model, and advantages and disadvantages of e-commerce, let's look at what's the e-commerce website. The e-commerce website, at the end of the day, is how your customers making purchase these days. Depends on the way that you present the experience. So your website should provide a great user experience. Be search engine optimized. People can find you, and be mobile friendly, because more than 65% of purchases are on mobile. So your e-commerce website should have these three attributes: provide great user experience, be search engine optimized, and be mobile friendly. The main features of e-commerce is easy to use, simple navigation, easy to checkout flow, mobile compatibility, discount code and promotional capabilities, security features, payment processing, social proof validation from past customers and trusted source, and user-generated content like reviews and ratings and photos. So these are the minimum key features that your e-commerce website should have. Now, the first question is, okay, I understand that. I know my target audience. I know my business model. I know the benefits and pros and cons of e-commerce, but where should I start? How can I build an e-commerce website? So there are over 578 e-commerce platforms, over 500 e-commerce platforms. But you have to know which one is best for you. So the first thing that you need to do is check the features. I listed here the top 10 ranking e-commerce platforms. The first one is WooCommerce. They have over 29% of market share. Squarespace, 20%. Shopify, 12%. Magento, 3%. As you can see, I didn't include Amazon here because I believe Amazon is not an e-commerce platform. I'm going to talk about Amazon, but Amazon is not a platform that you start your e-commerce. Why? I'm telling you. So let's look at the Amazon first. If you want to sell something on something in Amazon, you have to become an Amazon reseller. Okay? So you go to this website, sellercentral.amazon.com. You sign up. Account is $39.99 a month plus selling fee, and then you can start selling in Amazon. Why I believe Amazon is not an e-commerce platform? Because nothing that we said applies to Amazon. So there you cannot have a platform. You are using their platform. The target audience is usually consumer. You cannot do B2B. For example, you can, but again, it's very limited. But if you decide that you want to go with Amazon, start from here. sellercentral.amazon.com and sign up. Why you sell with Amazon? Because you reach with millions, you deliver smiles, it's very easy for people to order, and the fulfillment is very easy, and you make money. Of course, this is what Amazon is selling. You can reach millions of people, and then you can take advantage of that platform. But is selling on Amazon the right thing for you? So the pros of selling Amazon: easy sales, international expansion, low marketing cost because people know Amazon, and no stock. You don't need to stock. But what are the cons of selling on Amazon? No ownership. Let's say you're selling in Amazon, and it's not going to happen, but one day the Amazon website gets compromised. It goes down. There's a problem with government and they shut it down. You don't have anything. So you don't have any ownership when you deal with Amazon. High competition. If your product is not unique, when people find you on Amazon, they definitely compare similar products. And then in that case, it's up to you how much you are willing to pay Amazon to rank you higher. So high competition. Selling fees, as you saw, when you sign up, $39.99 is the monthly fee, but the Amazon is charging you some selling fee. Order management. Sometimes it's not easy to get the order management very straightforward. So these are the cons of selling on Amazon. I believe the most important one is no ownership and high competition. So these are the things. And finally, complex data feed depends on how you want to deal with Amazon. It's sometimes very complex when you want to feed the data. The good thing, again, about Amazon, I don't want to put them down, is they know art of upsell and cross-sell. When you go to Amazon, they're similar, but it's good for them, not necessarily for you. If you sell it on Amazon, you see that people have a very good experience. It provides you good experience. They provide seasonal sales. Customer retention is good, so people buy with ease of mind. But if we go to the real platforms, I categorize them in 3 categories. One category, I choose Shopify as a platform that represents that category. This category, it's very easy to start. You go to Shopify website, you start a free trial, you choose the template, you choose a template, and then you upload some images, put some prices, and you're done. So this is the first group of platforms that Shopify represents. Very easy to start. You choose a template, and then that's it. The second group is represented by WooCommerce. WooCommerce is a platform that's on top of WordPress website. This group, you have some control. And the third group are the platform like Magento. They are designed for professional e-commerce websites. So how do you compare which platform is good for you? We have to look at some attributes or factors. The first one is customization. On the right side of the spectrum, we have easy to configure. On the left side, we have customizable. If you want something very easy to start, you can go with Shopify on the right side of the spectrum. Magento is on the left side. It's not very hard, but it's not easy to configure. You need to know what you're doing. You have to have some expertise. But at the same time, you cannot believe how many clients we had. They started with Shopify. After 5-6 months, they said, okay, this is the feature that I want, and Shopify doesn't provide that. So they had to move from Shopify to something that's more customizable. Shopify provides a generic solution, one model that should fit everybody. WooCommerce and Magento, that's not the case. So customization is the first factor that you should consider. How customized you want. Services. On the right side of spectrum, we have comprehensive services. Shopify is on the right side. Again, when you sign up with Shopify, all the features are included. You cannot pick and choose. You cannot say, you know what, this is not the service that I want. So comprehensive means feature comes pre-installed and configured. Distinct services means you can upgrade individual features or you can add. The bigger the budget, the more likely I'm recommended distinct services, because then you can pick and choose the service that you want. So this is the second factor. Integrations and add-ons. No matter how robust an e-commerce platform is, you always need third-party tools and services to grow your store. So you need to configure your e-commerce and then connect it to your CRM, customer relationship management system, email marketing, lead generation, analytical tools. So these are the things that are beyond just e-commerce, and you need some integration. Both Shopify and WooCommerce have a massive extension directory, and then you can integrate with many third-party services. Specifically about WooCommerce, WooCommerce is an open source built on top of the WordPress with over 55,000 free plugins. They have more paid ones. So whatever you want to do is probably available, and you don't have to put any time or money. The plugin is already available. What are the advantages of WooCommerce? It's on top of WordPress, very flexible. easy marketing and promotions. Customization is very easy. You can connect the payment methods. This is the part that I love. You have the freedom. You don't like a hosting company? I can go from this hosting company, take my website to another one. Shopify, that's not the case. If you're not happy with the customer service, you cannot do anything. You cannot even take your website. That's based on their platform. So this freedom is something that I love. You can take your website and go somewhere else. Again, these are another advantages of WooCommerce. Easy analytical tool, some paid add-on. It's very stable, and the customer support is good. But you can find many companies that provide WooCommerce. When it comes to the pricing, for Shopify, you can start with a very basic service like $29 per month. But there is additional fee. Like Amazon, then you sell, there is additional fee, depends on what the account you have. And then if you want to develop something, usually Shopify developers are more expensive than WooCommerce because it's a specific platform. In WooCommerce, there is no monthly, there is no additional fee, there is an initial development fee. You have to find a developer to design the WooCommerce platform for you. So which platform is for you if you are confused? I usually use this analogy that if you want to go to the airport, you use Uber and Lyft. You don't buy a car for going to the airport. But if you want to stay there, for example, somewhere, if you go to San Francisco and you want to stay there for 2-3 months, you're not going to buy a car. You're not going to use Uber or Lyft. You probably rent a car because it's more economical to rent a car compared to buying or Uber or Lyft. But if you decide to stay, you probably lease a car or maybe buy a car. Same concept with the e-commerce platform. If you are confused here, if you have some items to sell, you can use eBay. If you want to do it continuously, you can use Amazon. You can start with Amazon. There is nothing wrong with that. But as I said, when you do Amazon, you don't own anything. You cannot sell your business. You cannot make any value. You can start with Shopify, test it and see how it works. But if you decide to stay in business, you have to go to WooCommerce or make some custom e-commerce development. And this is always the case. So I want you to not just compare the price based on initial value. So some quiz, if you open your store and buy, buyers will come. Definitely wrong. That's not the case. They won't. Internet is a huge place, and there's a high chance that when people come to your store, they don't buy for the first time. I can sell any products of any quality. That's not true. That's false, because you have to have a niche market. Just pay $5 for Facebook ads and you should be fine. That's not the case. The average cost per click for Facebook is $1.72, $1.72. 5 million businesses actively advertise on Facebook. So how far do you think your $5 can go? So that's not the case, definitely. They click on my ad, come to my site and buy. That's the customer journey. Definitely not. You have to know your client. You have to know where they are coming from, where do you stay, and so on. Implementing a custom e-commerce website will cost a lot. 10 years ago, but not these days anymore. So I'm going to pass these because these are you can go and read yourself. So let's say you have your website. How you can market your e-commerce? It's very important. The most important thing is search engine optimization. Search engine optimization, so when people search, they find you. That's one of the major issues with Amazon. If you rely on Amazon, you cannot do search engine optimization. People cannot find you. And then they come to Amazon. If they find your product, then they find similar products too. Same thing with social media marketing. If you have your own website, you have to do social media marketing. Advertise on Facebook, Instagram. You can do it organically or paid. The other way to market your e-commerce is pay-per-click, Google pay-per-click. it's a good tool. So you pay Google and other search engines to rank you high so people can find your product or service. Again, people ask me why I cannot do PPC for my product in Amazon. You can, but at the same time, you are marketing for your competition too, because they come there and then they see your competitors too. Referrals, email marketing, this is another channel that you can use. Specifically, if you talk about search engine optimization, is something that helps people to find you. It's a very cost-effective way. It's an investment for your business, not a cost. Let's look at the 6 pillars of SEO. Review your buyer's personas, so you know where they are coming from, how to buy. Focus on qualified traffic. You don't need just the traffic, you need qualified traffic. Target long tail keywords. It's very hard to rank for some keywords, but if you add your location, your brand, it's going to be much harder. So we call them long tail keywords. Prioritize best-selling products. Focus on the best-selling products. Improve your website usability. I always tell people that your website should be fast, should be mobile friendly, and should look good, provide a good experience. And I always recommend people, even if you want to sell on Amazon, have your website so you have 2 parallel channels. And you can get professional help. I usually have a webinar probably once or twice per month, sponsored by SCORE and SBA, called What Every Business Owner Should Know About SEO. If you want to hire an SEO agency, make a list, discuss major development stages, know what they provide and what they do for you, and make sure that you protect all your investment. You have all the code, you have all the money and everything. So to recap, this is the roadmap that we started. What do you want to sell? What product or service you provide? So this is something that you can answer. I cannot help you. Based on that, whom do you want to sell to? What's your target audience? Do you have a niche market? If you do, then you can decide the type of the e-commerce, B2C, B2B. So specify that one. And then after that, choose your business model. Do you want to do drop shipping, reselling, white labeling, manufacture? Now that you specify that one, go to the platform. What is the scope of your business? If you are temporary or for a short time, you can go with eBay or Amazon. But if you want to have an ownership and do business forever, then decide the platform. How you decide the platform, how fast you want, what's your budget, customization, services, the things that we talked about. And then after selecting the platform and developing your e-commerce, how you want to market. Do you want to do search engine optimization, PPC, social media marketing, or email marketing? So I'm going to show you something that usually people don't consider e-commerce. It's called marketplace. So marketplace is somewhere that you offer other people's services. This is the website that we designed for one of our clients. He's a dentist, but he wanted a website like marketplace, something like a Groupon. So other people can come here and provide services, and then you make some money. So if you know a product or service, one option would be create a marketplace for yourself. If you're familiar with the area, you can create a marketplace. You don't have any product, but you can offer other people's products. It's called marketplace. My name is Farid Parvini. This is my email, fparvini@solution21.com. If you have any question regarding e-commerce or search engine optimization, I'll be more than happy to help you. Please send me an email and I will respond to you within like 24 hours and answer your question. Okay, that concludes my presentation. If you have any question, let me know.
Thank you, Dr. Parvini. That was very comprehensive. We do have a few questions. Now, if I recall, you didn't recommend that people advertise on Amazon because that might benefit some other sellers. But if they're insistent on that, how do they do that?
Okay, so if you want to go with Amazon, I believe, let's go back there and then, so you cannot do search engine optimization. You cannot do PPC. So what you want to do if you prefer to go to Amazon, there are many ways, 4 ways as a matter of fact. You can sponsor a product, sponsor a brand, a lock screen ad for book vendors and Kindle direct publishing vendors, and sponsor displays. So each area requires some expertise, but the easiest one is you can sponsor the product or you sponsor your brand, and then pay Google and pay Amazon to display your brand or product higher than others. So they have their own platform for marketing, and then you pay them directly, exactly like the way that you pay Google to display your ad in PPC. So you can be displayed higher than your competition. So you can sponsor your product or sponsor your brand.
All right, sir. When it comes to search engine optimization, SEO, how do you compare Amazon and the other platforms?
Oh, okay. So as I mentioned, when you do search engine optimization, the concept is you want to basically give some benefits to your website to rank higher. So when people search for your product, your website is ranked higher, and then people can see you on the first page. Unfortunately, you cannot do it if you're offering your product in Amazon. So technically, there is no search engine optimization for Amazon. Even if you have a landing page that some people do, as I mentioned, the drawback is even if you rank higher and you send your potential clients to that landing page, they are going to see just your one-page product in Amazon and then go and compare other products, similar products. So when it comes to SEO, if you're offering your product or service in Amazon, there is no SEO. You cannot do search engine optimization. How you compare other platforms, again, since you are using some templates in, for example, Shopify, your ability to do search engine optimization in Shopify is very limited. If you want to change something, maybe the platform doesn't let you change that. So I highly recommend, if you're considering search engine optimization and you want to be ranked higher in Amazon, in Google, definitely go with the platform that is easy to change and customizable, like WooCommerce.
All right, sir. For customers that have their, let's say they've customized their website, what's the role of a good hosting company when developing an e-commerce website?
That's a very good question. So if you have your e-commerce website with, for example, Shopify, then they are responsible to keep your website up and running. If your website gets compromised, they are supposed to fix it. They have to protect your data. They have to make backups. So if something goes wrong, they can restore the backup and make sure your website is live again. If you go with WooCommerce, then you have option to host your website in many different hosting companies. So you can go with like cheap hosting companies like GoDaddy or DigitalOcean, or some companies that are specialized in hosting, for example, WooCommerce and WordPress websites. If you want to do that and then own your website, own the code, you have to decide how much you want to pay for hosting. Make sure to choose a hosting company that have a good reputation. Again, good customer support. For example, I have seen people host their websites on GoDaddy. Nothing wrong with that. They are cheap and they are very popular. But if something happens to your website, they don't take any ownership. They tell you that, you know what, go and find a developer and fix your website. They provide 24/7 customer support, but that customer support is just for answering your phone and telling that, you know what, it's not our job. So if you're planning to design an e-commerce website, make sure to choose a hosting company that back you up when there is something wrong. Make backup of your server, continuously upgrade your plugins. If your website gets compromised, they fix it. They have good technical support and so on. So if you're choosing a platform like WooCommerce, the role of the hosting company is significantly important. If you go with platform like Shopify, then you don't have that much choice.
All right, Dr. Parvini. Let's see here. Doesn't look like we have any additional questions. I do want to thank you very much for your presentation. It's quite comprehensive. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. And I want to thank our audience for viewing our program today and remind you that we have 2 more programs scheduled with presenters from SCORE. Wednesday, August 4, 2021 at noon, we will have Social Media Essentials for Business. And on Tuesday, August 10, 2021, we will have How to Get Your Business a Bank Loan, also at noon on that date. So I want to thank Dr. Parvini once again, and I want to thank our audience for sharing this time with us this afternoon. You have a good day.
Have a nice day.